Good day, Americans, wherever you are, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, whoever you be, whatever you be, whatever you be. So, you ever have one of those days where you start off, you got all these ideas and everything, and you're going to get all this stuff done, and then, like, you get into, like, one thing, and maybe that might lead to another thing, and then it's like you start, like, micro-focusing on that, and then before you know it, you're like, oh, geez, I just need to go mow the yard. Well, listen. Anyway, this has been a big deal here. The governor of Michigan. She's kind of, I don't know, communist maybe, and she was big on this lockdown. I mean, like, they banned you. Like, if you went to Walmart in Michigan during their lockdown, you weren't allowed to buy seeds. Yeah, like garden seeds, like grow your own food, pretty much a essential item. You weren't allowed to. Clown world. So anyway, next thing you know, you start hearing all this stuff about, and of course they labeled it like these right-wing extremists, and all this kind of started coming out right around election time. We're planning on kidnapping her, I forget her name, Whitmer or something like that. Oh, yeah, there it is, Whitmer. They're going to kidnap her, right-wing extremists were, because she was a Democrat, and they didn't agree with the lockdowns. Now, here's the thing. As we get into this, there's one thing I want you to say is, what are they saying by that? Like, does that mean that Democrats were for lockdowns and Republicans weren't? Because I didn't see anybody stand up to these things. Like, nobody did. I sat there, and I'm in complete awe. I'm sitting here going, don't people have some questions about this? Like, I don't know, like, lots of them say, like, do we just all throw up our arms for the in the sky, and give up our rights and everything for this? That's okay. But, nobody's going to ask that question. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there thinking in the back of my mind, you know what they're going to do? They're going to use this for environmental reasons. I was like, for a month or whatever the heck you're shut down for, there were no planes flying overhead. There were no cars on the road. There was nothing. The earth ought to be as clean as can be. It should have gone down the temperature drastically. And I was like, they're going to start doing this. They're going to say, in July, we need to take a week off for saving the climate, stuff like that. And it's, nobody cares. I mean, everybody's just like, oh, yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, it's like everybody accepts all this stuff. Well, anyway, ends up with the kidnapping plot here. The FBI was involved. Pretty bad stuff there. Anyway, let's go over this. There's another one coming up after this one I'm going to do. This gets fishy. Real fishy, and you should be very interested and aware. FBI informants had bigger role in Whitmer kidnapping plot than thought. Okay. Like, I've just heard, like, third person about this. Like, some of these guys may have had, like, mental problems. I don't know really who would have mental problems, but still, some of them might have had those. There's just, it was weird. This whole thing's weird. Members of an accused anti-government group accused of hatching a plan to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Remember, like, she was banning you to, like the day of, like, you couldn't go out and buy, I don't know, gasoline or a cup of ice or whatever you needed. Her husband flies down to their vacation home in Florida. Do as I say. Claimed that they were set up by more than a dozen FBI agents who had infiltrated the organization and played a key role in the plot. 14 members tied to the paramilitary. Doesn't paramilitary mean they have to, like, I don't know, maybe I para wrong. I guess it's Latin. I don't know. I was thinking it has something to do with jumping out of planes. Paratroopers, Anyway, militia group Wolverine Watchmen. By the way, that's also another pet peeve of mine. For, like, since I can remember, the first term, militia, first time you ever hear it, it was attached to Michigan. I'm like, what is, like, everybody in Michigan's in a militia. What the hell is a militia anyway? Whitmer was arrested in connection with the 2020 scheme to kidnap her after she refused to loosen the coronavirus restrictions. The plan was brainstormed at a militant group training camp in August. Again, where are these training camps, man? Within a few short weeks, the defendants began surveilling Whitmer's vacation house and drew a map. Wouldn't you like to see what that had looked like? I imagine it with crayons. That noted approximate distances from the home to police first responders, according to an indictment. Approximate distances. Like, they couldn't, like, GPS that. The group also allegedly planned to attack infrastructure near Whitmer's house, including blowing up a bridge to slow the response from law enforcement officers. That doesn't make sense. You haven't kidnapped her then. You got her hostage in her house. The case has been heralded as a high-profile example of how the FBI's infiltration of the innermost circle of extremist groups can thwart domestic terrorism, but others believe it's an example of gross government overreach and could backfire. Prosecutors recently revealed that there were a dozen confidential informants working on the case. The evidence they helped gather provided a glimpse into American extremism and how some self-proclaimed militia groups collaborated with one another, including pooling resources and building on violent ideas. Okay, that's, loosely said, right-wing militias. They're all over the world. They're hunting down Democrats. That's what the mainstream media narrative always seems to lead to. It's a bunch of malarkey. But this is what I love. Check this out. But a closer look into the foiled kidnapping by BuzzFeed revealed that some of the informants the government used appear to play a greater role in the plot than had previously been reported. In fact, the informants had a hand in nearly every aspect of the twisted machination, including its inception. I don't know what that word is. Don't see it every day. New information on the extent the FBI involved has raised questions as to whether there would have been a conspiracy to take down the Democratic governor without their help. Get that. Whether or not there would have been a conspiracy to take down the governor without the FBI's help. Wow. So they're saying that these guys were just sitting around and the FBI sat there with them and talked them into doing this. That means, so the FBI, you're thinking they're trained. They know how to do maybe stuff like this, right? And they're making it sound so simple, so nonchalant, so not a big deal, that these guys go, oh, okay, well, where's her house at? You know where her house is? Yeah, I'd like to see that. Let's go see it. They probably just nosy want to see what the governor's lake house looks like. One Wisconsin-based government informant, for example, helped organize a series of cross-country meetings with extremists. So they're flying people across the country to meet up and say, oh, man, these are great ideas. Yeah, man, we got to do that. As far as I know, they said, hey, man, I'm with the FBI. Don't worry about it. I'm with you guys. Let's cause some stuff here. We'll be able to sneak out in the middle of the night. No one will ever catch you. Those meetings allegedly led the groundwork for a multi-part plot. The same informant also paid for hotel rooms and food as an incentive to get people to come. These people wouldn't even show up. They're like, nah, I don't want to go. Wait a second, I get free vacation out of this? I mean, I've been stuck inside here with my wife. Gosh, she's bitching at me all the time. The kids, they're playing that rock and roll music. I don't know. I got to get out of this place. There's no sports on TV. I'll take a vacation. One Wisconsin-based government informant, for example. Never mind. I already read that part. Another informant, an Iraq War veteran, was so deeply involved in the militant group that he rose in the ranks to become the second in command. Okay. Let's assume all this is real. Like, there is a leadership function here. Now, all of a sudden, the FBI, who is trying to convince these crackpots to do this, has gone so far as to become their leader. and tell them to do this. Nobody sees any problem with that. What do you think happened on back in right after December? We'll say. What do you think happened the first week after the month of December? He also encouraged members to work with other suspects and even offered to foot the bill to get people to and from meetings. Oh yeah, you'll pay for my Uber? Okay. He was also, I can't wait till they say he bought beer. I mean, let's face it, man. If I was going to get rednecks to a meeting, I'd say free beer. Or offer a free hat. He's also accused of urging the alleged mastermind of the kidnapping plot to carry it out before laying the trap to him. So he's telling him, I mean, does that not sound like entrapment to anybody? The FBI is saying, hey, you need to go ahead and do this. Hurry up. Come on. Poking him with a stick. Get it going along. Maybe he's got a cattle prod. I don't know. But he's telling this guy to go out there and do this so he can arrest him. Does the FBI offer bonuses, I wonder? All but one of the 14 original defendants have pleaded not guilty and denied they were ever involved in the scheme. Probably was one dude sitting in the back of the room. It's Rusty Shackelford. Rusty Shackelford is the one. He is like, I will not plead not guilty, and I will go ahead and become state's evidence. They contend that they were targeted by the government because of their political views. They also claim the government orchestrated a campaign against them to undermine the Patriot movement, a far-right ideology that pledges allegiance to the Second Amendment. What? Jeez Christ. Oh, jeez. And believes the government violated the U.S. Constitution and is therefore illegitimate. You know, a lot of legal scholars will tell you that there's a lot of things wrong. Like, right after the Civil War, like the 13th and 14th amendments, or maybe the 15th, I have to look that back up. Like, they weren't ratified correctly. Technically, you would say they're not amendments because they weren't passed. And this court's going to tell you, well, we've used them for so long, we're going to keep using them. Now, that's another show to talk about that, but still. They argue the government is guilty of criminal conspiracy and possible entrapment. Oh, well, guess what here? I would never have guessed this next line. Prosecutors disagree. Hey, man, prosecutors prosecute. I mean, dude, prosecutors, we wouldn't have to have public defenders if prosecutors were, I don't know the word I'm looking for. Reasonable. Reasonable is the word I'm looking for. They have gathered thousands of social media posts, 400,000 text messages, and over 1,300 hours of audio and video recordings. That, I mean, dude, 1,300 hours of audio of AV stuff is nothing. I mean, I've got, see, everybody has more than that. 400,000 text messages. Dude, I know a girl that did 50,000 text messages in 1 month, and that was years ago. Years ago. And she told me and my friends about it, and I was like, how do you do that? Like, why don't you just call somebody? Like, there's no way you do 50,000 text messages. And, yeah, she was proud of it. I was like, you're just weird. Anyway, so it evidently is possible. The defendants argue the recordings and text messages are constitutionally protected speech. They also claim talk of the kidnapping never arose beyond the level of fantasy and that they never intended to hurt anyone. Dude, I mean, I know people like that all the time. You can walk into a store or something, you go, man, like, you know, for security, it's like, it seems like you can walk around. I'll tell you what, do the opposite of that. Walmart had these stupid gates that opened and closed automatically as you walked in and out of the store. The idea was to prevent shoplifting. Now these gates closed every time you walked into them. You know, there's those little they come from like waist high type security gates. You know, every time you walked up to them, they took like it seemed. I'll tell you, every time I walked up to them, I had to stop. I had to come to a stop for them to open up. Now imagine something emergency happens in there. All of a sudden, Walmart has set up an obstruction to get out through the emergency exits as fast as possible. It was like parking a car in front of the doors. Yeah, so anyway, those aren't there anymore at Walmart. The investigation is going to reveal that Richard Trask. Oh, what? Okay, so fantasy. Yeah, so you fantasize about stuff. All right, we got that. But get this. The investigation comes after it was revealed that Richard Trask, a special agent at the center of the case, was arrested and charged Monday in relation to a domestic violence incident. We have our next video, and that one is incredible. Trask, 39, from Kalamazoo, Michigan, is accused of smashing his wife's head against a nightstand after an argument stemming from a swingers party they attended, according to court records. Trask has been released on bond. This guy was the dude, and he was at the center of the case. He was the top government agent. Bashed his wife's head into a nightstand. Have you ever thought about that? Like, that is violent. I mean, that is like stuff you don't. I mean, you don't see stuff like that in movies. You know, you see them like they'll bang their head against a car door and then like the person's knocked out. Bashing though. Oh, excuse me, smashing. So anyway, if you like this type of comment, you want to know more about it, you want to stay tuned, please subscribe. Remember, my saying is, this is your channel. We're going to screw with the algorithm, all right? So give the subscribes, give the likes. All that just puts your voice out there more. And we're not going to put up with this. So the government's not supposed to be doing this stuff. Nobody's supposed to be doing this stuff. What happened to decency? Just plain, flat out decency. We're going to keep up with this. The next one is going to be awesome because I'm going to find that the police report on, what's his name again? Trask? Yeah. Richard Trask. So anyway, be good. Be good to each other. Do something good for somebody. Smile and be happy. It makes everybody upset that doesn't like you. Till later, y'all. Peace.